Okay, I think we have sound. Thank you, Peter, for that. Let's start again. Nick speaking, and welcome to this live stream. Right, today I am painting 98 Tyranids. That's an awful lot of Tyranids. And of course, I'm not going to finish them in this stream by a long stretch. I'm trying a new microphone system. Actually, it's not really new. I'm just trying the laptop only microphone because I had a feeling I had a few issues with the other microphone, so yeah, hopefully you can hear me okay now that I've actually turned the microphone on. So thank you, Peter, for letting me know that. Hopefully you can actually hear me now. So of course, yeah, no Necrons because I'm very busy painting these Tyranids. I'm looking forward to finishing these and actually working on some Necrons because I know exactly what I want to do next. I'm going to work on my death marks next because I've only got 7 death marks actually painted because I bought a unit of 5 when they first came out, and then I was given a couple of death marks. I built those, so I need 3 more. I do have another unit of death marks that also I need to paint as well. Peter says thumbs up, so that's great. Hopefully, yeah, you can hear me now. So I'm going to yeah, do some painting today, have a little general chit chat. If I do cough, then I apologise for that, but I have been ill. So yeah, more on that when I have a little chat. But first of all, let's have a quick sip of coffee. Today was totally unplanned. Again, I'll talk more about that in a second. But for now, let's get some paint in the palette. I am using a game colour. This is called Marron Karoo Leather Brown, which is supposed to be snakebite leather because that's how I painted my Tyranids. Snakebite leather. Games Workshop discontinued the paint. So yeah, apparently this game colour is the same as the original GW paint colours. So we'll see. Can't believe I got a notification this time. Whee, that was good. Hello Stephen, how you doing? Yeah, I was surprised. I normally get the notification after it's over. Oh, there you go. YouTube loved me. YouTube loved me. Probably because there's not much going on YouTube at the moment. So they thought, oh, I'll just share this random live stream that just popped up. So yeah, I have been ill, it's fair to say. Now today, I don't know where to start. Let's start at the beginning. So not this Saturday just gone, but not the Saturday before that, but the Saturday before that, I had my tournament, of course, and that was an awesome event. I had so much fun. I'd had the week before I'd had off work, and I spent 3 days around my mum's house painting a house for her. Then I had 1 day off, and then it was tournament time. The Friday preparing the tournament, and then the Saturday, of course, at the tournament, and then on the Sunday I edited the video for the tournament. So it was a very busy week that week. A lot of the guys sadly caught COVID at the tournament. We had one person who obviously got COVID and spread it around a bit. So sorry everyone about that. Next year we're going to COVID test before the event. So yeah, that happened. And then the week after the tournament, I was back to work. So I had a busy week. And then the Saturday after the tournament, we had a little family barbecue, which was really nice. But as soon as that finished, I got ill. Now it wasn't COVID, but I just felt really awful. It's a bit weird because I didn't have any sore throats. I just felt really like lethargic. My throat was really like dry but not sore. I didn't have a runny nose, but I just didn't feel very well at all. However, because of the holiday season that we are at work, I had to still go to work, and actually I had to work 6 days in a row. And today is my first day off after working 6 days. and I was supposed to make a video this morning, but the truth is I woke up and just thought, no, I'm just not in the mood to make a video. I think I just want to chill, paint some Tyranids, and then I thought, well, how about I go live, because I've done a few Hangouts before. So yeah, I thought I would do that as an alternative. Purely coincidence that I logged on in between trying to fix Mum's car. Helping out the parents is always good. So yeah, I've been ill but working, so recovery's been fairly long. And today, as I said, is my day off, but now, after today, I've got to work another 6 days in a row. So yeah, I'm doing lots of work at the moment. Now, next week I do have a video, but I've only got a short video, which is why I was thinking I would make a video today, but I just didn't feel up to it. So yeah, next week you're just going to have shorts, I'm afraid. But there you go. Unless I get the muster some will to make a video at some other point. So this colour takes a couple of coats, sometimes 3 in the really big sections, but on these Gants that I'm painting it will just be 1. So I'm currently doing this layer on things like the little hooves, anything that's spiky effectively, and obviously there's a lot of these Gants. So I'm doing the layers that I know where the paint's going to go, because obviously these are new miniatures that I've not really painted before. So let's have a look at my Screamer Khan effects. Don't know if this is going to focus or not. So I've done the claws, the feet, the back piece, but I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do the carapace and head and stuff yet. So I'm doing all of the stuff which I know how to paint, because I've done it before, and then I'm going to go back and do the stuff which I don't know how to paint and just sort of gradually add the colour to it. Now these hooves, they're a pain to paint. So I did the hooves yesterday on the, whatever these things are called, barb things, whatever they are, the ones with the gun, holding the gun. I felt the hooves, the actual sculpt was a bit weird. It was a bit random on the hoofs. There was no continuity between the design of the hoofs. Obviously, we've got the points changes coming soon, fairly soon. I think it's mid-September. So it will be interesting to see what that brings. Obviously I made my video which went up yesterday on that. And I've got some really good news, because I am playing 6+ Devo on the 9th of September, which I can't wait. So it's probably going to be just before the points changes. We're going to have 2 games, both 1,000 points, so it'll be 1 on his channel, 1 on my channel, so that'll be a lot of fun. Stevo's such an awesome guy. He sadly couldn't make the Dominion War this year, but yeah, we're making up for it by having a couple of games, so yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And this is just one that I'm painting, as I've got 40 of these, because I'm doing 2 of these sets of Nids. So this is taking a long time. However, I do have a really simple paint scheme, thankfully. So yeah, basically about 80% of these miniatures are just black. So I primed them black first, then went over them all with a black paint, just to make sure that if I had to do any touching up, then it's got the same sort of colour. And then the rest is just highlighting all of the extra bits like I'm doing now with this colour, and then I'll do like 3 or 4 highlights on top of that. But once this base coat is down, I will be a big chunk of the way there. I suggested the double Catan list at the time, several editions ago. Was a shame it didn't continue, not enough interest. Do you ever return to saying you say I play back reps? I might do, because that was quite a bit of fun. Hi there, first time I've joined. Welcome, Alexander. One of the lovely one of the live hobby hangouts. That's the one. Yeah, I do remember doing that. You say I play. That was when I was playing my Blood Angels, and I was struggling to lose. I was playing my buddy with his Blood Angels and winning every week basically, so I was trying to make things a little bit more fun for everyone. I even did a bingo list, I don't know if you remember that, where I randomly I rolled some dice, I think it was, to find out which units I was going to play, just to make it really random. But I still won, even doing that. So I'm gradually, well, what I've done is I haven't glued any of the bases just to make it a bit easier. Some of the stuff I don't need to take it off for the bases to paint, but certainly these hooves that I'm painting, I think I probably do need to do that. So I went to the fun fair last Wednesday. Took Necron girl and her friend. I didn't really do much because obviously I was a bit ill, so I just sat down and just chilled out really the best I could. Had ice cream, had a cold coffee in one of these American like diner bar things, had a few goes on the arcades, and didn't really see Necron girl because they just went off and did all the rides. So I have the house almost to myself. Necron girl is still in bed at the moment, but yeah, my fiance has gone to London. She's got another appointment there, hence the live stream on a weekday, so I wouldn't normally do that, but yeah, she's gone to London for a week. So I've got my lists ready to play Steve-O. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to do some experimenting with my lists as well, just to have some fun. Just play some units I haven't really played before. Now this foot is in the air, so I need to paint underneath it. To remember that, I should probably have to paint underneath this one. Yes. So once I've done all of the standard bits and pieces that I know I have to do, like these hooves and the talons and stuff, then I need to go back in and do the carapace design, and then the horrible one, the teeth, having to paint teeth on 98 miniatures. That is gonna be hard work. This first layer is the one that really takes up the time. Like I said, once it's down it will become a lot easier. Those are very strange looking Necrons. They are indeed, aren't they? Very strange. I do enjoy these, but also I'm absolutely itching to work on Necrons. But I want to just get these out of the way. And these will end up round Richard's house. And then obviously he's going to probably start playing the Tyranids. But because of course I've got quite a few Tyranids already, I'm just painting these into my paint scheme. So we've got nice big horde for the channel. Obviously there's a whole host of other miniatures coming for the Tyranids, which is nice to see, but also, it's like I said to Richard, it's like I don't want to commit myself to painting another, building and painting even more miniatures for Tyranids. Doing the box set from the Leviathan box set miniatures, okay. But yeah, I don't necessarily know that I want to invest my time more than money into buying all the other new nids that are coming and having to build and paint them. I want to crack on with the Necrons. These are fun to paint, they're different to paint. Once this layer is out the way, I know I'll have more fun, because this is like the hard layer, laying down the foundations of where all the colours are going to be. Once those foundations are down, the next few layers are definitely more fun, especially the third layer, because that's what we call, what I call the pop layer. It's the layer which sort of brings them to life. The first two layers are just building their sort of foundations down. As I said, I've got a bit of a cold, so excuse me when I blow my nose. Let me mute this while I blow my nose, because that is not what you want to hear. Right, hopefully you can hear me again. I wonder if a Necron could reanimate inside a Tyranid and then wait, and then what would happen? Yes, you can imagine that, eating the Tyranid and then coming back to life. One thing, let's just say, say Necron warriors, for example. They're obviously holding their guns. Let's say their arms get shot off, right? For whatever reason, both of their arms get shot off, right? And then they reanimate. Do they reanimate their arms and then pick up their gun? Do they drop their gun effectively? Or do they reanimate the gun back into their hands? I've always wondered that. I mean, if you look at, say, the Scorpion destroyers, for example, they don't have no hands, do they? Their arms are the guns, are the weapons, sorry. So presumably they would literally just reanimate the weapons. But what about a gun? Especially if they're holding it with a hand. He'll become a flayed one for sure. Right, paint, paint, paint. We got 40 of these little beauties. Not quite the word I want to use, but the big stuff is where I started, because that was more fun. But yeah, once I've done these, I've still got the Von Rijn Leapers. I've done a little bit of work on those, but I've got to finish them up. And then these, whatever these are called, the blind ones. A lot of rippers. I've got a few extra rippers to what's in the set, because I've made it so that I can have... I had a look to see how many I've got. I think I've got 10 rippers already, and you can have them in units of 6. So I've done 8 ripper swarms. That would give me 3 units of 6. And then I've got these things to paint, which I haven't got a clue at this stage how I'm going to paint them. So I'm sort of leaving them to last. Right, let's get some paint on. One at a time. What I tend to do when I'm batch painting is I sort of break it down. So like these Gants, for example, I'm breaking them, there's 40 of them, but I'm not just thinking, right, I've got 40 to paint. I'm breaking them down first of all into 10s. So I'm trying to paint 10 at a time. But then I'm also breaking them down into 5s in my head, you know. So it's like my first task is to do 5, break that down, and then once I've done 5, it's like, right, do another 5, and that will be the 10 done. And then I just do that once again, and then it's like, oh, I'm halfway there already. That's how I tend to do it, like psychologically almost. So I'm using my brand new Winsor Newton brush, size 0 for this job. My other brush was just splaying everywhere, so I had to stop using it and get this new one out. I've had this for I bought this with all my other ones about 3 years ago. I only just needed to use it because the others were lasting quite well. Always find it's best to bulk buy them, not like hundreds of them, but because of things like small order charges, I tend to like buy a few extra just so that I can avoid any small order charge. I would say it would reanimate with the gun on the floor and then pick it up. Yeah, that makes sense. So if it had dropped its gun before it got ate by a Tyranid, then it wouldn't be able to shoot its way out, would it? Right. You know when you've got something really delicate to paint and you just can't talk while you're painting? That was that. There's quite a bit of terrain pieces on the basis of these things, which is slightly annoying actually. I mean, I know why they've done it because it's detail, but it doesn't match my bases that I've got. I only have 3 colours of my Tyranids, so basically it's black, yellow and red, and I have no extra colours on my Tyranids, so if there's that random material on the base, it's got to be one of those 3 colours. I could not use another colour, it's just my rule. Now this will definitely need 2 coats of paint. But first of all, let's get 1 coat on there before we worry about a 2nd coat. Oh yeah, so let's talk about the Dominion War Tournament a bit more. So that was an amazing day, really good fun. We were supposed to have 16 of us, so we were supposed to have 4 tables with 4 games of pairs, and the idea was that we would randomly draw a partner and you would play both games with the same partner, and we would score by wins and then points, so you'd have like 2 winners, 2 runners up and 2 wooden spoons. So that was the original idea. However, sadly, the night before, 2 people had to drop out, and I did try to get somebody else to come, but it was just too late, basically. So we had a good think about it, mainly chatting to Planet 40k, and yeah, we concluded that the best option would be to play 3 tables of pairs, and then the 2 leftover people would play a singles game, and we would randomly draw it. But because we were doing it like that, we'd have to go probably score on points rather than games won. So that's what we decided to do. And because we were doing it that way, we didn't want the same person to play singles for 2 games. So we decided to randomly draw the second set of games, which actually worked really well because it meant you got to play with a different partner. And obviously the whole idea of the event is to meet like other YouTubers, you know, in our niche, build some friendships, potentially some collaborations for the future, and just like mingle and have fun. So there's a lot more to it than just like a tournament. So the pairs worked really well for that because you did interact. You had 4 people on the table rather than just like 2 people if you're playing singles. And then because you had a different partner, the second game, potentially have a different partner because it was obviously randomly drawn. it meant you can mingle a bit more as well. However, the two Death Guard people that were there drew to partner each other in game 1 and in game 2. Yeah, I mean, that was just luck of the draw, wasn't it, really? But we did make sure that you didn't play 2 singles games because I didn't think that was fair. So we made sure of that. And of course, I got one pairs game and one singles game. Now, obviously, because we were going on points, it did mean the scoring worked out a bit different. I mean, I came 5th, but I won both of my games. And Planet 40k came... No, sorry, what happened? No, I was 4th, sorry. Planet 40k was 5th. And we'd both won our games. Then we had Jack from Ministry of Dice, who came 3rd. We all played Necrons. We had basically 5th, 4th and 3rd place for Necrons. However, Jack only won 1 game because I beat him in the singles. But of course, overall, he scored more points. So, yeah. That was obviously because we went for points rather than wins. So I just thought that was quite interesting how it worked out. Everyone seemed to have a good time, and I really liked the system, the pairs. So I think I'm definitely going to repeat that format for next year. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was quite stressful as well in the preparation, especially trying to get an even amount of people to come. Because obviously, if you're playing singles, you only need an even amount of people to make sure everyone has a game. When you're playing pairs, you need even amounts of 4 people. So if one person drops out, you need, there's that 3 people that potentially haven't got a game. So, but it worked out all right, okay in the end. Best way to paint, I would say 3 colours max. That's exactly what I'm doing with these Tyranids. What do you think will change Necrons when we get our 10th edition codex? I think we're going to obviously get our, well, not dynasties, but detachment abilities. I believe every army's getting 6 detachments, I believe. So we might have like a canoptic one. I think they'll probably bring back the armies of renown. So we'll probably have a destroyer one, possibly a more sort of character cryptic based one. Something like that. Maybe more of a melee one. And more of a shooty one. Now obviously I did my list of units that need points reductions, but to be fair, obviously we don't know what the codex is going to bring. So there may be reasons in the codex for the points of certain units. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. That is for sure. I haven't really looked at the Tyranids that's been announced that much. I did have a look at the stats of the new Nord Queen, whatever it's called. I don't know how much any of the units that they've already got have changed. I do remember seeing there's one there, is it where you can advance and still assault? It's going to make them pretty fast. I wonder if the orcs will get that as well. Probably will. It's going to totally change the game, isn't it? The playing field's going to be totally different as the codices come out. Get this one done, and then I've got one more, and that's 5. Hey. Right. just a bit. The codex will have been written quite some time ago for GW to get them to printers, so I doubt we'll see much changes to data sheets other than maybe keyword relevant detachment abilities. Yeah, you're probably quite right there. Was the Dominion tournament the video you uploaded a little while back? I remember you playing play pairs then. That led to like fun. It was indeed that video. Yes, yeah. It really was a great day. Yeah, really cool. Each time I do one of the events, I feel like I'm learning from it and making it better each time. So yeah, it's always a learning process even. But everyone seemed to enjoy themselves, and I had some awesome sponsors this year as well. Musket Balls 1812 really helped me out with some prizes, some really cool prizes. And then Innovative Tinkering, who were absolutely amazing. You know, the dice company, who not only sent me some dice for the event and some really cool dice, bearing in mind that I arranged prizes so that I had 2 winners, because it was supposed to be pairs, joint. So there's supposed to be 2 winners, 2 runners up, and then like 2 wooden spoons. So I had a good amount of prizes. What I ended up doing is I sort of split them up, so we had a few more prizes. So I went down to 4th place. Best army got a better prize as well because of the split. And then I gave a few random dice sets out as well. One, we did a roll-off at the end because I think I'm going to make that a thing. I did it in the first event, and then we did it again in this one. It's just a lot of fun, just a roll off. You know, whoever gets a 6 is in the roll off, and then you just keep rolling until someone's won. So that worked well. I'm going to make that a thing. It's a good way to end the event. You know, everyone just gets their dice, rolls off, someone wins, and then it's like, that's it. You know, it's over. So definitely going to maintain that. So that was really good. So yeah, Innovative Tinkering not only gave me lots of dice sets, but he offered off of his own back, without me even saying anything, to do some unique objective markers for the tournament. So we had some Dominion War 2023 objective markers with my logo on, and they all came in their own little box and everything. It's so cool. So huge thank you to Innovative Tinkering. Funny enough, his name's Nick as well. Yeah, but yeah, really cool. So great to get such good sponsorship as well for the event. Right, get this one done. Now that's 5 done. I always have to go in and touch up afterwards, especially around the hooves. Because they've got that like I don't know how to describe it, little bits that sort of go over the hoof, and whilst you paint around it sometimes it just goes over, so I always find I have to just go back over with the black paint and just touch it up, but I'll do that after I've done two coats. I always feel like I'm making good progress with these, and then I remember how much more I've got to do, and it's like, yeah, I've hardly made a dent. If you had to overhaul the whole datasheet for one Necrons unit, which one would it be? And how would you change it? That is a very good question. I haven't played every single datasheet yet. Oh, that is a tough one. Just trying to think. I think maybe. Oh, so that is a good question. That is a good question. whole data sheet. I suppose we'll pick the one that probably needs the most work, certainly in points anyway. Let's pick the Convergence of Dominion. Currently 255 points, which I think we can all agree is way overcosted for sure for what it does. It does have actually some good rules, but I think it would be just a bit better if we could just do a bit more with them, like a bit more movement maybe. Some really cool rules, let's think. Some cool rules for those things. I think I would like to see their gun a bit better. Maybe make them a bit more of a threat. I mean, the gun's a bit better than it was. If you were going to keep them those points, 255 points, it's going to have to be a lot better. I really want to try the monolith. I know people that are playing it, but I'm just finding it so hard to pay those points for it. Silent King, I suppose, as well. I just haven't had the inclination to play it. I think it's because it doesn't really fit my playstyle that much. I'm not, you know, I'm not one of these people that like to play like one big unit and then build my army around it. It doesn't really fit my playstyle that much. Which is probably why I'm itching to have the monolith a lot cheaper, because if I play the monolith, I like to play more of a fun type monolith list where you have, you know, 2 or 3 monoliths rather than just one centerpiece. I'm not really a centerpiece list sort of player. It doesn't really suit me. Right. Okay, first coat done on 5. I'll be very surprised if they don't nerf the Transcendent Catan Shard. Yeah, he's pretty decent, isn't he, at the moment? It's so hard to predict what we're going to get. Time will tell, I suppose. That's it. Right, let's just put these back onto here. They don't have to be in exactly the same right position they're going to be at the end, just to store them. 2. As I said, that's the first coat anyway, so I've still got another coat to go. However, that is my first 5 done. Let's put them back. 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to take 5 away. 2, 4, 5. So what I've done is I've split these into units as well, and I've done that with my painting. So there's 40 Gants in total. So I've split them down into units of 10 and into units of 20. So I've got a 10 with just black tails, so the tail just is black on the end, 10 of those. And then I've got 10 with just a small tip on the tail, and then I've got 10 with a medium tip, and then I've got 10 with a long tip. So it's like that's a long tipped one. So you can group them together. So you can have, if you're using them in 20s, you'd have a black tip and a small tip tailed, and then the others would be the long tip and medium tip tails as a unit, or you could split them into units of 10. So that's how I distinguish my units, with the coloration of the towel. It works quite well, because I like my armies to all look the same. I don't like to totally paint them in a different way. If I can help it, I try to split the units up with their basing material. Like my Necron warriors, you know, like one unit might have crystals on, one unit might have rocks on the base, and the next unit might have nothing on the base, just sand. Because I just like the army to look the same rather than differently painted. But with Tyranids, yeah, I do it with the towels generally, or with the markings, you know, somehow. I know may get this a lot, but any advice on starting a 40k channel? Hello, Craig. Yeah, advice. The first thing is you have to make sure that you're going to enjoy it. So yeah, just make some videos. Basically, make some videos, upload them, have some fun. Because it is a lot of work. But if you enjoy it, then it's amazing. It is, or can be, quite addictive as well. So be prepared to be prepared for it to sometimes consume your life as well. But yeah, unless you enjoy it, it's not going to work out very well. But yeah, start off with getting sort of an idea of obviously your channel name. Try to make the channel name easy to pronounce, unlike mine. Easy to pronounce is recognisable and relevant to what your channel is going to be about. Think about not so much the logo, but like the colour palette that you want for your channel, because it is a good idea to have the same colour palette sort of throughout. So like your avatar, your banner on the home page, and your thumbnails. And I try to keep everything consistent. So I'd think about the colorations and stuff first. In terms of like videos, so there is a huge learning curve, but ultimately you're only going to get better if you make videos. So yeah, just plow on, make some videos, upload them. Don't try to like start off being a professional, because A, it's probably never going to happen, and B, it can hold you back. You know, most of what I've learnt because I've just made a load of mistakes over the years. Just try to improve every video that you make. You know, just try to improve one thing. So let's say you upload a video, and then, for example, let's just say that the focusing sort of wavered in and out a bit on that particular video. Then the next video, try to improve that. You know, maybe the sound level's not quite high enough, or the music's a little too high, or you know, just each video try to improve one thing, and you will gradually get better. But don't try to be a professional like right from the beginning, because it will just hold you back. I mean, YouTube is such a different place to what it used to be. When I first started, it was so different. You could only upload like videos of a certain length. I was under 10 minutes. And then, you know, people's expectations were a lot lower in terms of the viewerships. You know, it was all about bad videos. It was all about just, you know, people with rubbish cameras, rubbish sound, but just something to say. But now it's a whole new story. It's, you know, like almost like broadcast quality, isn't it? That's what a lot of channels are aiming to get to. It's much more competitive now than it was before, you know, the amount of people on the platform. I did read the stats, although I can't remember it now. How many videos are uploaded like every second to YouTube? It's quite a lot. Like 2 billion videos every second are uploaded to YouTube, something like that. It's like a ridiculous number. But the number one thing is you've got to have fun, you've got to enjoy it. And it's not very often I don't enjoy what I do. As I said this morning, I admit I just felt a bit burnt out. It's like, I don't really want to make a video today. So I didn't. I did this live stream instead, doing my hobby, doing some painting, having a chat with you guys. But that was mainly because I've been ill and I've been working a lot. So I said I've been doing 6 days in a row whilst ill, and then today's my only day off, and then I've got to work another 6 days in a row. So it's like, yeah, I just need to chill today. What's up, peeps? Hello, Bazza. How you doing? Okay, thank you. I think I will be doing down the Necron route, as they're my favourite faction. I love them. Awesome stuff. Yeah, that'd be cool. Let me know when you're up and running, and I will definitely subscribe. Hence, I found your channel. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'll give you a sub for sure. There are a few Necron channels now popping up, I've noticed. I think trying to think what it was called now, the box sets for 8th edition. What was it? How's it called? I cannot remember what it's called now. I want to say Dominion, but that's not it. That's my tournament. Anyway, that box set, yeah, with all the new Necrons, I think did inspire a lot of people with the army, which is great. Obviously, a lot of people have got rid of their Necrons because of what happened to them in 9th edition. But that's fine. I have spoken to a few people who said I got rid of my Necrons because they weren't that great, and now they regret it. There you go. You have to play your army because you like them. Need some black paint. Indomitus. That's the one. That is the one. Why could I not remember that? Need a bit of black paint. Right. Usually I touch up afterwards, but if there's like a blatant area where I've made a big mistake, I'll just touch up as I go. There is a danger of leaving your touch-ups for later and then forgetting where you've got to touch up or not being able to see them again. So sometimes it's good to touch up as you go. But in this case, where I'm just painting that one area for now, it should be pretty easy to touch up. So has anyone been watching Ahsoka? The first 2 episodes I've watched, really enjoyed it. Thought it was really cool. I'd finished watching Strange New World Season 2. Watched those first episodes, the Star Wars one, really cool. And then I'm currently watching Black Mirror, the new ones, which I've watched the first episode. I thought that was really good, so they're back to the roots of Black Mirror. I felt the last season that was on just wasn't that great. Didn't really enjoy that. But yeah, the first episode was pretty good, although I'm told it's probably one of the best ones. That is a lot of Neds. Yes, it is. 98. 98 Neds. How long is it going to take me? That's the question. To be fair, once this layer is out the way, which I'm just basically laying down the foundations of where the yellow's going to be. Battery. I did neglect to get my battery charger, so you got to bear with me 1 second. Right, I'm back. Hopefully I can get this battery charger in before it dies. Come on. Quick. You know when you want to do something really quick, it never goes quick, does it? Quick. Here we go. I'm in. I have power. My light flickered off though. There we go, I'm back. Will you get any of the new models when they are out? Yeah, I was talking about that before because I don't want to commit myself too much to painting and building too many Tyranids. I'm doing that like 100 models here at the moment almost. So yeah, I really want to do some Necrons after I've done these, ideally. Hello Richard, how you doing? I am currently painting your Tyranids. Well, our channel Tyranids. Damned, missed it. Thought it was Greek time. No worries, Richard. Yeah, Richard is currently on holiday. Right, we have power. We're back. Let's paint. So yeah, Richard obviously is away on holiday for a couple of weeks as well. So we haven't obviously been gaming recently. So the next battle reports you will see will be my game against 6+ Stevo. And as I said, I'm going to be playing one game on his channel as well. So if you're not subscribed to him, go and check him out. 6+ Stevo. That is with the number 6. I'm really looking forward to playing that. Steve is such a great guy. We get on really well. It's like we've known each other forever. No, did I do... I did do that. I was just making sure I did those little scything things at the back of his foot. And the only thing really that I'm not looking forward to doing on these miniatures is the teeth. Because there is a whole bunch of teeth. I wonder how many teeth there are in total to paint. 98 miniatures. Each one with probably, what, in the region of, let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 13, 14, let's say 15. 98 15s. Anyone got a calculator? Funnily enough, the hardest Tyranid miniature for me to paint, from my experience of painting Tyranids, were the Ripper Swarms. They were horrible to paint. So many of them, so many eyes to paint, so many teeth to paint. That's the point. I forgot I've got to paint the eyes. Well, at least there's a unit with no eyes. 1,470 teeth. Thank you for that. Wow, that's a lot of teeth. I've been trying to paint every day if I can, but it's mainly like in the morning. So I don't really paint like in the evenings. You know, I spend family time there, so it's usually on my days off or in the mornings. I usually paint a little bit before work. You know, sometimes. Well, at the moment I'm painting about an hour because I don't have to do the school run. But when the school run starts, it might only be half an hour. But little and often gets the job done. I have painted a huge amount of Tyranids in one go before, so this isn't new to me. And I'm only able to do this because of the rather simple paint scheme that I've got. Have you seen the new Space Marine 2 game, speaking of NIDs? I haven't, no. No, I haven't seen that. I haven't played any games. I don't game, basically. When I was younger, I used to, but that was in a time slightly different to how gaming is now. I used to game on my little Amiga 500. But no, it's just too much of a time sink. Also, probably just because I'm old school, but I just find that the new games are just so complicated. I must admit, we did have a PlayStation 2. I say we, my ex-wife and I had one. And we played Lego Star Wars on it, which we really enjoyed. What an awesome game that is. We had the original one, you know, episode 4, 5 and 6, and then we had the Phantom Menace 1, so we had episode 1, 2, 3 and then 4, 5, 6 on Lego Star Wars. They were a lot of fun, those games. But we also had a game called Minority Report. You probably know it. But yeah, Minority Report on PlayStation 2, and I couldn't get out the first room. I was stuck in the first room, so I just gave up. Just too complicated. Don't forget though, I grew up on Space Invaders, so Pac-Man, Space Invaders, you know, all those old classic games. And this hoof is really hard to get to. Let's do my best. Yeah, the Tyranid pieces of terrain are going to be fairly easy to paint because I'm going to just paint them black. I think there was the Brood Lord, that he was on a piece of terrain, wasn't he? So I just paint him black. I do have this, where is he? This Von Ryan thing on this pipe, on that pipe where I posed him. Probably going to paint that black. Just keep it black because I just don't want to introduce another colour into the army. Now I'm not sure I am going to be able to go live on the first Thursday of the month for my Necrons and More live stream, which I normally do, because my fiance coming back pretty much the day before that stream, so She'll probably come back with her mum, who usually stays with us for a day or so when she comes down. So I don't think I'm going to be able to do the live stream. But I might do a few more hobby hangouts if people enjoy this one. It'll have to be in the evenings though, so it will be a different time of day. But that's okay, because I know that obviously people are doing different things and they're from different parts of the world, so not everyone can make the streams at the same time. Hello Mr. Peach, how you doing? I've been playing Lego Star Wars on the PS2 when I was 9 and having a blast. Yeah, it is an awesome game. I wasn't 9 though, but yeah, it is a great game. I did complete them, but I had to use one of those cheap things. You know, I did as much as I could, and there was like, I think you have to, I can't remember exactly, you have to collect like X amount of crystals, don't you? I think I had like 4 crystals that I just couldn't find, no matter how many times I played it. So I had to get one of those cheap things just to get those last few crystals. I know there was one of them you had to, it's like I would never have guessed it. You go into this room and there's like a square on the floor made up of different like blocks, and to get this crystal you have to like go around the blocks like 3 times before the crystal appears. It's like I would never have thought to have done that. We did try Lego Indiana Jones, which was good, but not as good as the Star Wars ones. I never tried the Harry Potter one. I did try the Batman one. Again, that was quite good, but just not as good. The Star Wars one is just the best. Probably because, you know, I love Star Wars. I'm one of these people. I'm a huge Star Trek fan and a huge Star Wars fan. I like them both. I don't know how many people are like that. It's usually like one or the other, but I enjoy both. And Star Wars came out in 1977 and I was 5, so you can imagine, like, at that age, like, Star Wars just such all the rage. So I grew up with Star Wars, always loved it, and then my dad got me into Star Trek. We watched the reruns of obviously Captain Kirk. I used to watch them together with my dad. And then, yeah, it just went from there. So, yeah, I do like both. I'm doing fine, just painting some grey base coats on my Sentinels. Awesome. Yeah, I tried Lord of the Rings one, and it was good, but I could not get into it like I did with the Star Wars one. I think that's the thing, probably where I started with the Star Wars ones. It was hard to find one to match it. Right, 3 done. 2 more to go, and I'm halfway with this particular section that I'm doing. Star Wars and Lord of the Rings for me, and Terminator. Oh yeah, you've got to love Terminator. Got to love it. I've watched those many times. I'm waiting for the Necron girl to get to the right age before I introduce her to Terminator. The only Terminator film I didn't really like was Salvations. You know, the others, yeah, not quite as good. Maybe like the T3. I mean, it's okay. I know that Genesis didn't really get a good write-up review, but I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. Especially whatever her name is, Emily. Is it Emily? who played Sarah Connor. Thought she was good myself. And then obviously the new one, Dark Fate, is it? Again, it got a bit slated, but I enjoyed it. I don't know whether James Cameron is actually going to do another one, but there was rumours, wasn't there, he was going to reboot it himself. So I'm going to be rewatching Back to the Futures again. Necron girl, she said she has seen them before. I've shown her them before. And she said, "Oh, I really fancy watching Back to the Future." So I said, "Download them and watch them together." So that'll be fun. I really hope they do not touch Back to the Future. You know, remake it, make it, reboot it, remake it, whatever. It's one of those things that just doesn't need anything done to it. Just leave it alone. You know, it's just such a classic. Hello Jar, how you doing? I'm totally hooked by the Expanse books. They're interesting. I haven't even watched the TV series. I tried a couple of times and I just fell asleep in the first episode a couple of times. It is one of those on my bucket lists to watch because I'm told it's really good. Yeah, I like them all, but not like Cameron versus versions. Yeah, Cameron's he's the best. I said the only one I didn't really like was Salvation. Well, I've only seen it once, so maybe I need to watch it again. I might appreciate it more. Sometimes your view of a film can be skewed by on your first watch. You know, sometimes you're just not in the mood, or you're just maybe tired, or you know, whatever. So I probably need to watch it again just to give it a chance. And of course, it's got Anton Yelchin in it, hasn't it? Who obviously played Chekhov in Star Wars, and then sadly died. So I probably should watch it again just to see him in action. Just finished watching And Just Like That, you know, the new Sex and the City reboot. So just finished watching season 2. Yes, it's alright. It's not amazing. It's not as good as Sex and the City was, but right, one more done. Stay there. I have man flu. I'm dead by tomorrow. Oh, tell me about it. I've been ill myself. And I'm just not going to mute you when I blow my nose now. You just have to put up with it. Light Point Break. Why remake that film? I know. And the new version is dreadful. There's no need to remake it. There's so many films they've remade, and it's like, why? Why? Stopping by to say hey before head out to work. Thank you, Travis. Yeah, enjoy your day of work. I'm sorry you've got to work. Star Trek Anton, indeed. He is very, very cool. He played the character well. Chekhov, he gave him a nice spin. Right, is my phone going off? Is Asia? Right, Just answer this quick. Right. Here we go, here we go. Get this one done, and I'm halfway there. No, I'm not halfway there. I'm a quarter of the way there. That means I would have done 10 out of the 40. I was getting excited then. It would be a bit easier to paint if I could have them actually on their base, but just where they're placed, it's just seems a bit easier to get the brush in, taking them off. Definitely going to have to do some touching up though. So what's the most amount of miniatures you've ever painted in one go, like batch painted? I think, well, 98 miniatures, I think this is probably, I'm not sure if this is the most amount, because I batch painted my Dark Eldar army, and I batch painted another huge amount of Tyranids before. It's certainly up there. It's probably one of the most I've ever done in one go. What's your most? Let me know. My nose runs like Niagara Falls. Sorry, it hit you too. Get what I was saying. Thank you. Yeah, same to you. I'm on the tail end now, to be fair. Yeah, I'm on the tail end. So I've actually been ill for about a week and a half. But I have been working all through it. So that probably slowed the healing process down a bit. But I'm okay now. Just got a bit of just the residue of it, let's say. I'm actually really warm because I've got the curtains all closed because it was quite bright in the background. I might have to go and open the door in a minute, I think. It's so hot. Just get this one done. Come on. I woke up this morning, first thing I was thinking to myself is, I want McDonald's breakfast. But I resisted ordering one. Someone wants to speak to me on the phone. Right, last bit. Come on. Do you talk to yourself when you're painting? Like G yourself along? I always do. Two box of Leviathan boxes. So basically these, yeah? Well, you've done the Space Marines as well, have you? Don't tempt me, Frodo. Right, let's get these on their bases. That is just first coat, remember? But it's a start. It's a start. think the key thing I've noticed when you're batch painting is that there is an attempt to rush it because you're doing so much. But yeah, it's not good because you don't want your quality of your paint to be too low. I mean, I'm only doing basic stuff, so it's not exactly like really difficult stuff. But right, let's take another 5 out. 2, 4, 5. Stick these back in. The unit is starting to come alive now. Okay, I'm going to quickly open up the door because I am roasting, so bear with me a sec. Right, that is better. All specs tactics. What's coming in 10th edition codices? Cool. Oh, and Jack from Ministry of Dice has put up his first proper video on his channel. Cool. I look forward to that. I'll probably end up sharing it at some point. Right, here we go then. 5 more. I wonder if I can paint these on there. I've actually got these which I was sent by A-Case. I haven't tried them yet. Let's get that out of the way. This is like so we've got some glue and some magnets, which I totally forgot I had that glue in there. So glue and magnets. And I got this like paint holder set. So oh yeah, it's magnetic. That's right. I haven't looked at this for ages actually. So these are all magnetic. So if I'd already put the magnets on the bases, which I don't, I do it after painting. I could have just done that. So that's pretty cool. And then you get a cork one as well. You can change the corks, so you can have them like corked up, and then just put them in. And again, that's magnetised at the bottom. So yeah, it looks really, really cool actually. And this twists as well on there. So yeah, I just haven't got around to using it yet because I've just not had the right like setup to use it. Oh, there's also one of these big ones as well, so if you want a big area. Yeah, it looks really cool, but sadly because I haven't put my magnets on yet, for whatever reason I tend to put them on after I've painted the magnets, rightly or wrongly. I think it's because when I prime them, I prime them underneath. If I can get it back in the box. Come on. There we go. Yeah, so I usually sort of turn them on their side and prime them like from underneath. And I don't really want the primer on the magnet, if I can help it. I painted 2 Necron halves with Odometus in one day. I'll never do that again. In one day! I painted 2 halves of the Necron Odometus set. It took me, I think it took me about 4 weeks. But yeah, not in a day. In a day! Did you use the silver primer? Like, oh, almost done. I recently found 24 old Termagants part assembled. I suppose I should finish them before the 5th set. Probably a good idea. Right, Nick, let's get some painting done. So yeah, let's talk more about next week, because as I'm doing this live stream instead of painting, because I just didn't feel up for doing a video, next week you've only got short videos, I'm afraid. So Monday will be a short video, and then I've got some shorts going up later in the week, and they're all short videos that do not require me to speak, because when I had the opportunity to make the videos I couldn't speak properly because of my cold that I had. So yeah, I'm afraid that's what you've got next week, just some shorts, unless I get inspired. But I am working for a week, so if I do get inspired it will have to be an evening video. We'll see. I think I'd rather just spend time getting as much of these Tyranids painted as I can before my fiancée comes back home. So whilst I can paint like in the evenings, if I can do a few hours each evening, and some in the morning as well, like an hour, half an hour in the morning, hopefully I'll get a good chunk of these to the next stage. And like I said, once I've done this first layer it will get a bit easier. This is a really awkward one. It's like the foot behind the two hands. Okay. Not quite sure how long I'm going to stream for. I said it was pretty unplanned, this. It was like, should I make a video? No, I just really don't feel like making a video. I just want to like chill and paint. And then I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, then why not just go live and do it? So here we are. How long have we been streaming? I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Should I make a video? No, I just really don't feel like making a video. Mute that. There you go. What time did I start streaming? 1:30, wasn't it? Wow, is that really the time? An hour and a half already? Sunlight. Yes, it looks like quite a nice day today. What a terrible summer we've had. Terrible. The weather's just been awful. I know what will happen. The kids go back to school, which is like next week, and then we'll get a massive heat wave. Necron girl was in her last year. Year 11. Okay. So obviously I've been building some 1000 point lists recently, where I'm playing Steve-O, got a couple of 1000 point games. Actually quite like 1000 points. It's quite a nice little area to be in. The games aren't like mega long. It does limit you on certain choices, certain builds, so you've got to be you know, you're a bit more restrictive your list building, which is good in a way, because you can't just automatically take like 3 of the best units all the time and not compromise yourself. hair on there. So one thing I've noticed when you're building 1000 points, certainly in 10th edition, I use black primer in my Necrons. Okay, cool. Is with 10th edition you need certain units on the table to obviously do the secondaries effectively, and sometimes you can use exactly the same units. Let's say for example 3 scarab swarms, you know, nice and cheap, no trouble there. Other times you might have to compromise a little bit, but you still need the unit to do the job. So let's say if you're taking, let's say your normal list, you're using Ophidian destroyers, like 3 Ophidian destroyers, maybe even 2 units of 3 Ophidians, to, you know, come down, do the secondary actions or whatever, and then pop up again. Maybe you're using those, but when you go to 1000 points, it's a lot more investment in points. With those Ophidians, you know, that investment is like exaggerated, let's say, because of the limited amount of points, and that's where sometimes you might just have to like compromise a little bit. So you'll still need the unit to do that job, or a unit to do that job, but maybe it's not Ophidians, you know, that are going to do that job. Maybe you might have to sort of change them for death marks or a hex mark destroyer. You know, something that can do the same or similar job, maybe not quite as well, but at least do what you need it to do, but without such a big sort of investment in points. And that's where I think the Doomstalker is probably one of the good alternatives to things like, say, Doomsday Arcs. You know, in a 1000 point game, the Doomstalker is like really good for its points. And then let's just say you're normally infiltrating like 10 flayed ones. You know, in your 2000 point list, you've got 2 units of 10 flayed ones that you infiltrate. Well, maybe at 1000 points, that could be one unit of 10 rather than 2, or potentially 2 units of 5 rather than 2 units of 10. You know, so whilst you might end up with a totally different list in 1000 points to 2000 points, there's quite a bit of sort of keeping the same formats, let's say, in your list. This is an awkward one. Oh, I've gone over the black. Okay, we'll have to touch up that. My little one has her last day of nursery tomorrow. She'll have a surprise Monday. Yes, yeah. Time goes quick, that's for sure. So, yeah, school. You think they're going to be at school forever, but it's not the case. It's nice to get these Gants out the way, because I've sort of almost been dreading them. You know, I've been painting like the Screamer Killer, thinking, yeah, this is fun, it's going to look cool. It's like, oh, 40 Gants. Obviously, I've already done some work on the Gants. I've done the top section, the carapace, and I've done the top of the gun there as well. I'm using my Gants which I've already painted, which I've got one here. So that's basically the look that I'm going for. So So I've got all of my, well, not all of them, I've got a few different models, like my parasites out, so I can see how I painted the wings. I've got it all written down, but visually it's nice to be able to see as well. I had a good sleep today. I turned all of my alarms off. Usually I get up at 6:30, but today I decided just to turn them all off and just get up when I wake up. And I wake up at 8:10, which for me is a lion. 2. When we got the announcement that we were going to get a winter codex, a lot of people said, oh, that means it's going to be September. But I don't think it is going to be September now, because obviously the Tyranids are coming, and then we've got the Space Marines, right? And then it's us. So does that mean it's going to be October, maybe November? Depends how quickly they pump them out, isn't it? But I can't imagine it'd be too quick, because, you know, the next codex run after the Necrons, and who else is coming? Can't remember who else is coming. Is it Admech? But yeah, after that codex run, then the next codex to come out isn't until 2024, right? Which is going to be the Orcs, which I think is spring. So I don't think they're going to be doing like really quick codices releases. What do you reckon? Any guesses for the month that we're going to get the Necron Codex? This one is awkward. Keep saying that, don't I? Everyone's awkward. We've got a new restaurant, well, fast food place open up where we work. You probably heard of it. It's called Wendy's. So I had a breakfast burger thing from them yesterday. Oh, that was really nice. Like runny egg. They had a runny egg, which I've never had before, from a fast food type place. It is expensive, but it is really nice. Halloween Necron release would be nice, yeah, so like November, end of November. Although I'd guess mid-November. Yeah, much later, yeah, than everyone was saying. I had it in my head, like, you know, when they first announced when it was going to come, everyone was saying, oh yeah, well that means it's going to be September. So, oh, okay. And I just sort of just trusted people, because obviously a lot of people know what they're talking about. But yeah, I can't see it being September. Obviously the fun and games all start when the codices come out. It's going to change everything, isn't it? And I can't see that. Well, to me it seems like 10th edition is just going to be exactly the same as 9th edition in terms of like bloatiness and rules and changes and point changes. And obviously in an ideal world I would have been happy for them to have waited another year or 2 years, get 10th edition like really good and balanced as much as they can before they release it. But obviously that isn't a good business sense. Don't get me talking about the app, for God's sake. I was undecided about the app for quite some time because I've been using the list builder and I've thought it's been really good, and it is really easy to build a list on there. And then obviously when I found out, I mean I knew they were going to obviously pay for, you had to pay for it eventually, but I thought okay, it's going to be like an app, maybe $1.99, you know, $2.99 max a month. And then when I found out it was going to be part of Warhammer Plus, it's like, what the? And I was really disappointed with that news. I've been umming and ahhing what to do. I don't do Warhammer Plus. I have no interest in Warhammer Plus. Animations don't really interest me. You know, painting tutorials don't really interest me. Lore videos don't really interest me. Battle reports don't really interest me. You know, I've got all of that on YouTube if I want it for free. So yeah, okay, you get that model, don't you? Limited model, and I'm sure a lot of people, you know, enjoy everything that's on Warhammer Plus, but it's just not for me. So to be told the only way I can have their army list builder is to subscribe to that, I was not happy. I went a few weeks thinking about what the hell am I going to do. You know, a part of me was thinking I might just subscribe to it anyway, and there's another part of me thinking no way. So what I did is, whilst I was thinking about it, I was continuing to use the Games Workshop army list builder, and then I thought, look, I've just got to try Battlescribe. I tried it once and I thought, oh, this, you know, the Games Workshop one is so much better. But I've persevered with it, and actually now I'm liking the Battlescribe version, and it's totally made up my mind now. I'm just going to use Battlescribe. And obviously we know what's going to happen with the app when you get the codex as well. They're going to have the code in the back, so you're still going to have to buy the codex to get the rules, even if you're paying for it as well. So you're paying for the app, surely you should just get the codex on there when it comes out, not have to buy the codex to unlock it with a code. I'm also not convinced by the index cards either. In lots of ways they're great, in other ways they're not. I'm finding they're great when I'm playing smaller games, like say up to about 1,000 points. When I'm playing 2,000 points, I've got so many index cards and they're spread all over the place. And even with the index card, I'm still forgetting rules anyway, even though they're easy to access than a codex. So I'm having to do little post-its on the index cards, which works, which in the old days I used to just write it on the army list. Now I'm just doing post-its on the index cards. But yeah, as soon as you go to like big games, if you've got multiple units, So a lot of index cards, and they're not exactly small, are they? They're quite big. So I'm flicking through these index cards like during the game, and I'm thinking, I don't know, would it just be easier just to be flicking through my codex? So I'm not 100% convinced by the index cards, but I do think it is a good idea. But yeah, I don't know. It's not like a perfect scenario. And of course they go out of date quick, which we know about that. We knew about that. I still bought mine, even though they are free to download, just because they weren't that expensive, and you know it's good for the channel. So I will be buying the new codex when it comes out, and obviously I will be buying the index cards as well, even though they're going to go out of date fairly quickly. But that's one reason why Games Workshop are trying to use points to adjust the game more than rules. And they are going to do rules adjustments, but it's mainly going to be the points, just to try and keep those index cards in date a little bit more. Or at least that's what they said. I do find the hooves of these new miniatures a bit random. There's no consistency in how they are. I notice it on those other miniatures, but it's also the same on these as well. Especially the back of the hoof. I like different designs on different ones. I wish I'd chosen black hooves, not yellow ones now. No, it does make it pop. Actually, one reason why I chose this really simple paint scheme for my Tyranids is because originally my son was going to have my Tyranid army. When he was about 8 years old, he started painting them. So I came up with this really easy to do paint scheme, black and yellow. I used to let him paint them, and then I used to go over and just tidy it up for him with the black paint. But then he went on and did Space Marines instead. So he did Dark Angels. He had Dark Angels army, and he had a custom army as well. But then he got to a certain age, probably about I think 12, 13ish, and he started playing Minecraft with his friends at school, and yeah, that was it. Warhammer 40k was gone. My eldest daughter, she's never been interested in it, and obviously Necron girl, well, when she was younger she tried, but I don't think it's really her bag either. Sometimes I think you have to be a bit older to, wait till your kids are older. I always try to get them into it when they're younger, like between 7 and 10. But maybe just to let them find it themselves. Thought Battlescribe had pulled support for Games Workshop games. Well, it's up there. It's got 10th edition. All the rules are there, so not quite sure about that. I know there was something going on with Battlescribe at one point, but it's all up and running now, so I don't know the ins and outs of it. I think there are some other apps as well, army building apps. I've heard people talk about them. I don't know exactly what they are. Aha, it's another 5 done. How about that? That went quick. Right, let's just touch up there. Whee! Another 5 done. Woohoo! Celebrate good times. Come on! Copyright strike. I green stuffed all the indentations of these in there because it's good that they don't have like clips on the side, you know, where the bases are joined. So they're joined in the middle to the mould press, but then you still end up sometimes with holes and indentations. Keep going. Another 5 done. Yay. Right, just another 5 done and I'm halfway. How about that? 3, 4, 5. He's back. I love seeing how people paint Tyranids as well. There's some really cool paint schemes for Tyranids, and obviously they can be very different because you know you've only got the limitations of your imagination when it comes to Tyranids, and some people do have some amazing imagination. Let's have some coffee. It's only cold by about an hour and a half. Thank you everyone for joining the live stream today. Just a bit of a chill and a chat. This is a Necron channel mainly, even though I am painting Tyranids, hence Necrons and more, because I do have, well, 6 armies in total, and obviously Necrons are one of them. So yeah, let's get painting. This is what we're here to do, to paint. So what are you guys doing at the moment? Are you painting with me? I need some more paint. Are you painting with me? You're at work, day off, day off if I can speak, or is it the evening? Maybe you're watching me in bed on your laptop or on your phone. It is such an eye-opener when you have a YouTube channel, how like the whole world's watching and all different time zones as well. Most of my watchers, of course, are men. I do have about 1%, which is girls, which is, I suppose, about average, I suppose, if you think about how many girls do Warhammer. Well, I don't know what the actual percentage would be, like, realistically, but I have all sorts of age groups. The most popular age group is 35 to 45. Then the 25 to 35 is the second most popular. But yeah, I've got some like over 65s watching. The whole range really, just like a vast an array of different groups watching, which is really cool. Different countries and you know all the rest of it. Working from home, nice background listening, excellent. Yeah, sadly with my job I can't work from home, but right, this guy's standing on a load of rocks by the looks of it. Rocks aren't too bad, but I need to get a desert yellow replacement paint. So when I painted my what's he called, Mortrax, this guy here, I did his base but I didn't have the correct paint, so I tried to mix some colours together to make a desert yellow, but it's a totally different colour. It came out like really different compared to what it should be. So I'm definitely going to need to get some desert yellow, especially the amount of bases that I've got to paint. So again, I'll probably have a look at game colour, because as far as I'm aware, this game colour range is old Games Workshop paints inside the bottles. And I think that was one reason why Games Workshop changed their colour range, so they could have full ownership of the paint. Actually, it is their paint rather than just like a sourced paint. That's when we get all of the name changes, and we've got city paint names. I still think of all the old Games Workshop paint names when I'm painting, especially the Necrons. It's like, no, it's not warp stone glow and mute green, it's scorpion green and snot green. No, not snot green, that's the new one. I can't even remember it now. It was on the tip of my tongue just a minute ago. Dark Angel's green. Scorpion green was the really light one. And now I can't remember the, the middle green after saying, I remember them well. Bolt gunmetal, of course. We had that. Chainmail. Chainmail, bolt gunmetal. Mithril silver. Are you going to keep it with the black and tan theme? It looks pretty clean. I am. I'm going to match all these into my other army for sure. Excuse me. Do you have a way channel fans can send you gifts? Recently got a 3D printer. Indeed. Your best bet is just to email me, IDICBeer@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. I was doing the vacuuming. Have Space Marines, Chaos Space Marines, mostly noise, probably not legal anymore. Eldar and some Tyranids didn't like the Hormagaunts, too front heavy, and Necrons of course. Yeah, those Hormagaunts just toppling over on pain, weren't they? Also, on that note, what stuff do you reckon would be really handy to get 3D prints of? I don't have flayed ones, so I'm thinking of making claws to add to warriors. Other ideas? I think that's a fantastic idea. Yeah, some sort of claw that you can add to a warrior would be awesome, because I mean, you'd still have to do potentially some skin out of the green stuff, unless you could do some skin out of your 3D printer. I don't really know about 3D printing too much. Any other ideas? A lot of the things I would suggest have probably already been done, like cockpits, you know, for the flyers. A lot of people like that. But that's already been done. What about a Triarch Stalker top section that doesn't include the driver? Maybe one for the Ghost Ark too, because a lot of people don't like the drivers. So you could have like an alternative top section for them. I think that would be pretty cool, work well, and a lot of people might like it. And Games Workshop have now discontinued one of the guns for the Seraptic, which I'm told is they did it because the machine broke, the press mold broke. But yeah, the Singularity generators are no longer available to buy, so maybe 3D printed versions of those. I'm getting hungry now. What's the time? Oh, it's 12:30, yeah. There you go. Should have had that McDonald's I was talking about. My stomach is rumbling. No sign of Necron Gal. She's probably not asleep still. She's probably on her computer in bed. No doubt she can hear me talking, so she probably realises I'm either making a video or live. I need to go shopping later, get some food. We did the whole school uniform thing last week. Get ready to go back to school. Snot green is the old warpstone glow. Oh, okay, yeah, so I am right. It was snot green, yeah. That's right, there's mute green is the new scorpion green. That's right, so I was right. Snot green, scorpion green. Aren't Flayed's ones scaled a bit bigger? Possibly, but I don't think it would make any difference. I've not seen the new Flayed ones, but the old Flayed ones are about the same size as warriors. I'm hoping for new Necron Lord and Locust Lord with the release of the Codex. Yeah, have you seen the rumours though about this? I think it was Valric, but I think apparently he posted on one of his videos or talked about it in a stream. But Necrons are getting a new Imitate the Stormlord, and that is it, apparently. I don't know how true this is, it's rumours. But that's disappointing if that is the case. I mean, cool to have a new Imitate the Stormlord, great, needed. But really? That's all? I would have thought they would have replaced some models which have green rods in, because I mean they're getting rid of green rods, right? And the Locust Destroyers are going to be the key ones, and potentially the Locust Lord. Imitate doesn't even have a green rod, does he? I mean, mine one does. And that's because I added one, because at the time I was so disappointed they got rid of green rods. It's like, I'm going to put a green rod in every model. That's why I have green rods in my Death Marks, and also my Imitate the Stormlord has a green rod. However, when I do my second unit of Death Marks, I'm not going to put green rods in them. So I'm going to have one unit with green rods, one without. It will help me distinguish between the two different units. Praetorian chest back to front makes a great start for Ophidian destroyers. Green stuff for the tail and the Praetorian shields for the hyperphase blade. That's cool. My kit bash lord is cool and all, but would want an official one. Yeah. That would be sad if we don't get those cast characters and Catan redone. Yeah, I said it is only rumours, but if it's true, that is disappointing, isn't it? However, looking on the bright side, I bet a new Imitate the Stormlord model is going to look awesome. And you might get even better rules with the codex, especially if there's a new model. We'll have to see. But I noticed a lot of the Tyranid players were, they weren't moaning, they weren't unhappy, but they were a little disappointed with the Norn Queen rules. From what I saw, they were sort of expecting more, hoping for more. Maybe GW have learnt a bit, and rather than giving like brand new units uber good rules, they wait until the next time they update the rules, and then they give them new good rules. I wonder who decides like which models are going to get the best rules in this edition, because there must be a reason. There must be something behind it. Like, right, I mean, I'm sure that back in, when was it, 6th edition? Yeah, 6th edition, when all of a sudden only troops could take objectives. Quite clearly, with 5th edition, they didn't sell any troops. And it's like, right, how can we sell all these boxes of troops that we've got? I know. Let's make them the only units that can score. And then everyone went out and bought troops for 6th edition. There's got to be a reason for the rules in terms of like selling models. The game is definitely different to what I thought it was going to be. Once we got all the announcements, it seemed like it was going to be like a big unit game, like lots of tanks and stuff. I mean, tanks are cool and things, but the way the missions are, it's not like the be and end all. I think you've got to have a good mixture. The game is still brutal though. Well, it seems to be pretty brutal. Assault is toned down though, that's for sure. The assault, it can be really nasty still, of course, but I think it's not quite as nasty as it was. And shooting as well, with the excuse me. Let's have a drink. With you can only shoot if you're in range effectively. Your gun, rather than one model can see, every model can shoot, sort of thing. But overall, it's still really fast and brutal. Do you think we'll see new Space Marine models in a few days at Nova Open? I think that will literally be what we will see for 40k. It will be the new Space Marine models. Because we've seen obviously the Tyranids and yeah, obviously there was that choice. Do you want to see the Tyranids or do you want to see the Space Marines? The Tyranids won, so it's got to be the Space Marines, surely. I don't think we'll see anything else for 40k apart from those Space Marines. Maybe a few like tip bits, but I think it's primarily going to be the Marines. And obviously mini Marines, not there no more. Gone to Legends, quite a few units. It was always going to happen, just slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. Obviously I've got the Space Wolves army, which are all old Marines. Not too bothered, I don't really play my Space Wolves, and it is a very thematic army because it's the 13th company. So I think I can get away with it actually, because I lost in the Eye of Terror for 10,000 years. There's no way they're going to be upgraded to Primaris, are they? So how are we doing here? One more after this, there's another 5 done. Don't know how you are doing that many troops at a time. I am doing AdMech at the moment. I have to do maximum 6 Skittles and then something else to keep motivated. Well, I suppose I am doing lots of different units, aren't I? So they are different Tyranids, I suppose, in a way. It's helped by having obviously a very simple paint scheme. When I painted my Noise Marines, I painted 36 Noise Marines in one go to the best standard that I could. I mean, these are just really basic painting, you know, don't have to really worry about too much, but yeah, that nearly killed me, painting those Noise Marines. I worked out I spent 700 hours building and painting those 36 Noise Marines, and that was hard work, you know. When you're just doing layers, it's not too bad. When you start having to wet blend stuff, that's when it's difficult. You know, wet blending all that pink armour on each model, and you've got 36 of them that you're batch painting in one go to a high level, you know, your highest level you can paint basically, then yeah, that's hard work. But I did it in batches, in a batch paint, because I knew I could then make them all look the same. That can be a danger sometimes when you don't batch paint. It's like matching the units in so they look the same, if that's what you're after, and that's what I like to do. Now, sometimes it's difficult to replicate something that you've painted. I should have just added another couple of miniatures to this just to make it around 100, which I suppose arguably you could say I've done, because I am painting this, which I didn't count, which is on the base of this guy here. There we go, on his base, along with this piece, the Tyranid hive node thing. So I suppose those two could count as an extra 2 miniatures. So now I am painting 100 miniatures in one go. What a fool. Right, get this one done, and I'm halfway on this section. They did look good after you finished them. Thank you very much. Yeah, my Noise Marines, yeah. Yeah, my AdMac doing my best job. My crons are for fast tabletop. Yeah, exactly. So it is hard. If you're painting to your best work, it's hard to do more than 10 miniatures in one go. Like when I did my Eldars, like batch painting, well, I did 12 actually because I did 2 units of 6. So like my Fire Dragons, I did 12. And my Swooping Hawks, I did 12 in one go. And again, I was painting to my best standard I could at the time. I think I can paint better now, but at the time they were my best standard. That's about right. You know, painting more than 10 in one go to a high standard is really tough going. I've been putting off doing my Warriors and Immortals due to dreading doing 20 and 10 of the same models. Yeah, it's hard work. I did paint all of my Warriors in units of 20. It's not that bad once you get going, and the key thing, I've got quite a few videos actually in the archives on batch painting, like how to batch paint. But for me, even though I've got all of these models here, like there's nearly 100 miniatures, I'm not thinking I've got to paint 100 miniatures. I am literally breaking it down. Like now I'm thinking I'm painting these 20 Gants, but actually I'm not. I'm thinking, like I said earlier, I'm thinking I'm going to paint these 5 Gants. I've got 5 out off the tray, and I'm concentrating on painting this layer on those 5 guys. When they're done, put them back. You know, if I wasn't live streaming, I might go sit down on the sofa for a couple of minutes, come back, get 5 more done. So I'm sort of breaking them down into mini batches, so it never feels like I'm painting 100 miniatures. Adds variety whilst being uniform if they aren't exactly the same. Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I wouldn't want to paint 100 gaunts in one go. I think I have. No, not quite that many. I painted a lot of gaunts in one go. Obviously there's 40 here at the moment, but I think I've painted more. But that's one reason why I'm only painting sections at a time. Like at the moment I'm painting the hoofs and the talons on the back of the hoof and the arms. But before that I would have painted like the top of the gun, so I did the top of the gun on all of them. You know, so just changing the units. So like before I do the next stage on these, I'm going to paint the Von Ryan Leapers, and then I'm going to paint these little blind guys, then I'm going to do the Rippers, you know, so I can sort of flip between one unit and the other. So like you say, you'll end up painting not only different pieces but different models totally, so it is a bit of a break. The achievement at the end though makes it all worthwhile, because once you've done it, it's amazing. You know, you've got the whole army done, or whatever, you know, in this case all of these units done. And it's great to see everything come together. Sometimes you're painting 10 guys and you think, right, I've got these 10 guys done, and then it's like, oh, now I've got to do these then, and then them and them and them. I know that once I've painted these, there's all of my Tyranids painted, unless I buy more of the new miniatures. Which I know Richard would love me to do. To the point he might not even buy them himself and say to me, Nick, paint these. But I do want to. I want to work on some Necrons. So far this year I've painted my built and painted my 2 Doomsday Arcs and my 2 Annihilation Barges. But that's all I've done for Necrons this year. And I'm thinking, that's not much. But of course, I've been building a lot of these Tyranids and painting these Tyranids. I'd like to get another couple of Necron units done before the end of the year. Because my plan is, you remember last year, at the beginning of the year, I released my Necron army videos. There was like 6 or 7 videos showcasing my army. And the idea was that at the beginning of every year, I do a showcase of everything that I've painted for Necrons to like update the showcase. And at the moment, I've hardly got anything, so obviously I would have painted a load more stuff if I hadn't been making videos, because, you know, making videos does take up time. So the other day I I sat down to paint and then realised I've got to make a Necron video, so I stopped painting and made the video instead. Channel works both ways though, because okay, I don't get as much time to hobby because my spare time is made up of making videos, but also if I didn't have the channel I might not do so much hobby anyway, because it's like, you know, the channel motivates me. Right, that is another 5 done. Hey, we are now halfway painting this section on the Gants, and that's taken me 10:30, 11:30, 12:30. Really, nearly 3 hours? You're joking me. Cannot believe it's taken me nearly 3 hours just to do them. I did my cons as an overgrown theme, so it's more an exercise in advanced basing than painting. Fair enough. But I had some Adamec to want to get some of the new contrast greens that are nicer than the regular greens. Have you ever done any Rust themed units? I've done a fair amount of Rust work on my Space Wolves and gave them some rusty like weapons and guns and stuff, because they're all supposed to be worn where they've been locked in the Eye of Terror for 10,000 years. 1, 2. I tell you what, these Von Ryan Leapers are so spiky. See, I keep doing that with their claws everywhere. 4 more. Okay. I am hungry, but let's keep going. We can't eat until it's done. Alright, here we go, let's get cracking. 5 more, just 5 more, Nick. Well, I've got a drop in quality there by the looks of it. Has the image quality gone down? Judging from my screen it has. Right, let's go. Obviously I've seen quite a few rusty Necron armies as well, where the whole Necron is like rusty, which looks cool, but it's not really my thing. I'm not a huge fan of rusty Necrons. For whatever reason, I don't know why, I suppose where my Necrons are more sort of Terminator esque base. In my imagination, I think the rust feel doesn't really suit how I see Necrons. In my head it's like, right, I've got all day to paint and I'll be able to get loads done, and the reality is I've done like 10 miniatures, no 20 miniatures and only one section at that, but that's okay, it's okay, just keep going and you'll get there, you will get there. I came up with this little painting sort of formula called the double one painting ritual, which basically means you have to paint 1 hour every day. So 1 hour once a day, double one basically. But it had some rules to it, so you didn't necessarily have to paint an hour every day. I suppose ultimately it was to paint 7 hours in a week. So you just log your painting. So for example, today I might do 5 hours in one day. Effectively that means I've only got 2 more hours to paint, and I've achieved 1 hour once a day every day. Because it's surprising, if you do an hour of painting every day, your painting comes along quite quickly. Obviously it's not going to be as quick as doing 2-3 hours a day, but sometimes it could be hard to get motivated to do that amount of painting, or you've just not got the time to do that amount of painting, like, you know, children and babies and work and God knows what else. But if you can somehow squeeze in an hour every day, whether that means like one day you paint 2 hours and then the next day you don't paint at all, just keep a note of that painting, and if you aim for that 1 hour a day, it can be done. It can be done. It's just a way to motivate. I used that when I was painting my noise marines. My Necron army is rusted with purple weapons. That's cool. Looks okay on my end. Great. Yeah, my end's okay now, but when I looked up earlier it was all pixelated. I had a few internet problems. I don't know if you remember my last Necrons and More live stream show that I did. I had terrible internet problems. Some days we just get really issues with the internet. I've got a funny feeling it was the weather, just where we've had such bad weather. We need some more paint, I think. This paint is pretty watery, I've noticed, this game colour. You've probably seen I haven't really been adding water. Cardinal sin, I know. But it is very watery, this paint. I find it doesn't really need it. Obviously I'm on the wet palette anyway, so I'm getting some natural water coming from underneath the parchment paper and tissue. I wonder what 6+ Devo is going to be playing. he's going to do two different lists like I am. So we're going to have two 1,000 point lists. So we can have two games with two different armies, which would be fun. I know he's going to have killer cans, at least in one of the lists, because he's like a killer can freak, isn't he? He loves killer cans, and obviously being a Bad Moons player sort of matches his army, so I'd imagine at least one of the lists, if not both, will be chock-a-block of killer cans. I have my lists all ready to go. The guys on the membership, yeah, guys on the membership, I would have seen my lists or know what I'm playing already. Gonna be fun. Did you see my Stomper battle report? Didn't seem to do very well, that video, for some reason. My other battle reports have been okay, but that one for some reason just didn't seem to perform very well on the channel. It's okay, but it wasn't like amazing, the views. Do you ever do much conversion work these days? I'm tempted to make a Canoptic Goliath Beetle proxy for Locust Heavy Destroyers using the new Biofull kit. Yeah, that new Biofull kit looks really cool, doesn't it? Yeah, I do conversions. Whenever I mean, I don't just think, right, I'm going to make a conversion, you know, do a conversion. It's like, if have a hobby project or some bits available to me and I want to make a particular model, then I will do conversions. So yeah, I do them. My recent one, obviously, I did the limited edition anniversary Space Marine and Orc thing, and just converted that using that Overlord. That's really cool. Enjoyed that. Right, now this towel needs a second coat, so we'll just use up the paint. My phone keeps going off. I've got it on, not silent, on vibrate. I think people are posting in my Dominion War chat. We've got like a group chat. And you know what those group chats are like sometimes. Sometimes they go on forever. Bing, 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 bing. The notifications. Let's have a look quick. Yeah, it's a group chat. We'll get to that later. Right, 3 more. Then I've only got 5 more to do, and I will only have 10. More paint needed. Can never tell how much paint I've got left in these little bottles. Don't think it will be enough, that one bottle. I might have to get another one, because both the next layers that I use, the second layer, third layer, going upwards, I will be using this colour as the base of the colour. Then I'll mix in sunburst yellow and then white as well. I gradually add the white to make it lighter and lighter, the yellow. Luckily I have my formula all written down, although it's in YouTube videos as well, for when I've previously painted the Nids. But yeah, definitely write down your formulas, because when it comes to duplicating, it's so much easier if you have it written down. I learnt the hard way. I do actually mix my paint together here rather than using flat paints. Usually I like to use flat paints unless I'm painting a one-off miniature, because it just makes it more consistent. If you've got that one colour, it's like, right, I'm using that colour. As soon as you say, right, it's a 50-50 mix of this, or a ratio of 3 to 1 of these two colours, it just becomes harder to mix those colours, make consistently. However, with this army I do mix them. So I think the next coats is going to be 1 part this colour, 1 part sunburst yellow, 1 part white, and then I'll add more white to it, so it'll be like 2 parts white, and the next layer then it'll be 3 parts white. And when I come to doing the tips of the claws and the teeth, it'll be like 4 or 5 parts white. That's the fun bit though. This is the chore layer, just working out exactly where you want the layer to be. The next layer is almost an unworthy layer. I could almost not paint it, but not quite. The next layer is just basically it's almost like a second coat. Just leave this layer just in the sort of recesses and then do the second layer. It doesn't really make that much difference, but without it just wouldn't look the same. Then the third layer is the fun layer, that's the pop layer. That's when it really makes a difference and brightens up the yellow. And then the last few layers are literally just like, as I said, making the claws look really sharp, the edges of the claws and the teeth. And then I work on the red, so any sort of extra bits like the brains of this guy's going to be red, and then the smoke on this guy's going to be red as well. So I'll add a bit of red to it just to break up the colours. It should look pretty cool when it's finished. And then my base obviously is that like sandy colour, which is a nice contrasting colour to a lot of the black on the miniature, and obviously with the yellow. Done. Quite fancy pizza today. Pepperoni pizza with cheesy bites. When you're hungry, you just think of all sorts of stuff to eat, don't you? That's why it's a good idea never to go shopping when you're hungry. yeah, so after the tournament, we all went out. Well, not all of us, most of us. There's 14 of us altogether, but 10 of us went out for a meal afterwards. Really, really nice. That's cool. We went to ZZ's. I had a calzone. Then we had obviously two guys from Modelling for Advantage, great channel. I've been on one of their live streams as a guest before, and yeah, they won top place and bottom place. How about that? So James, yeah, he obviously won the tournament with his custodes, and then the Kaiser, Restless Kaiser, he came last basically, along with David, who had Death Guard. And bless them, they were both drawn randomly together twice. How uncanny is that? We had two Death Guard players and they were drawn with each other randomly twice for both games. So obviously they had joint points. So yeah, they both were bottom. But luckily, where I'd obviously planned for prizes to be joint originally, where it was going to be pairs, I had two wooden spoons ready, so I was able to give them a wooden spoon each, which was nice. Don't know what I would have done. They couldn't really share the wooden spoon, could they? But it was really good. That's the first time I've met Kaiser and James in person. Yeah, really nice. There's quite a few people there actually I hadn't met before. Some of them, like Bill from Warzone Morlock, he'd been to one of my previous events. He couldn't make last year, but he went to the one before. But yeah, some of the guys I hadn't met before, so that's really cool. Then we had Planet 40k there, Planet 40k Demons. Aaron was there representing the Chaos Demons. And obviously I got teamed up with Planets, which was pretty cool. We were playing against Tyranids and Sisters. So obviously Tyranids have that ability where they can increase your point cost of your stratagem, deciding on a new colour scheme or an existing one. Good morning, John. How you doing? I am painting my existing scheme. So basically I'm just matching these into my army currently. But yeah, it's quite a good matchup really, because obviously I had all the big guns. I had 2 Doomsday Arcs and 3 Doomstalkers. I had some Scarabs, 2 squads of Scarabs, and my Death Marks, which were obviously there for secondaries. And Planet basically just had a secondary taking army. So the MSU, like a couple of units of 3 Tomb Blades, a couple of units of 3 Scarabs. He had a couple of units of 5 Lich Guard. He had some Ophidian Destroyers, a Scorpet Destroyer, not Scorpet Destroyer, Scorpet Lord, not Scorpet Lord, Hexmark Destroyer, that's the one. So we had 2 Hexmark Destroyers between us. So yeah, it was quite a nice little combo. However, we were playing Sisters and Tyranids. So yeah, the Tyranids, first of all we did our RP stratagem, and then they made that 2 CP, so we didn't really use that anymore. And then oh, Sisters had these 2 tanks. I can't remember what they were called. They were horrible tanks. They had so much firepower. And then he had this like unkillable assault unit, which we just ignored. Yeah, Planet was going to throw some models into it. I said no, let's just ignore it. Let's just go over this side of the table, ignore them, let them have that objective. And that's what we did in the end. So we played it quite cagely. I basically destroyed anything that I could see. So as soon as I could see something, because we had a lot of terrain, so it was quite difficult to get line of sight, but as soon as I did get line of sight, I was blasting units off the table. And then Planet was just getting secondaries. Then we did quite well on the investigate signals, I think it is. We had 2 quarters in their deployment zone and ours. So we got 8 points for that. We got behind enemy lines. We gradually pulled it back towards the end of the game. But I just touched that when I've just painted it. It's fair to say that Planet didn't think we were going to win that one. But we did. Obviously where we were drawn on the day as well, you don't really get time to talk tactics too much, you know, you've got to do it whilst you're playing. Obviously afterwards I watched his video about the tournament. He actually had like a kamikaze list, so his list was literally just like go out, die, get objectives. But we didn't really play it that way because of the mission and because we had Tyranids and sisters like advancing up the table. So in the end, we played it a little bit more yeah, you know what I mean. And we just held back and we let the Tyranids and the sisters come forward, and then when they got into range, that's when we blasted them and then sort of countered them a bit more. Right, that's another 5 done. Yippee! So John said good morning. So I wonder where are you based, John? Where are you based? Because here it is 1:15 in the afternoon. I was really feeling like I'm getting somewhere with these now. Just 10 left. And that will be the first layer of the hooves and the talons done. Just drop the base. Right. Okay, so let's do these. And I'm going to do these 10 that are left, and then I'm going to stop for lunch. So we've got. Hello, there's more than. Oh no, I'm not off. Oh yeah, okay. I've got 15 to do. I haven't got 10. I've got to do 5 more, and then I've got 10 left. I'm going to try and get these done in this stream, this layer on all of them, and then stop for lunch. So let's do it. Let's do it. 15 to go. US, Texas. Okay, cool. So you've literally just woken up here. So potentially I'm going to get all of my American subscribers jumping on to the stream. You never know. Obviously in my second game I played Jack with his Necrons, so it was Necrons versus Necrons. Jack had an interesting list. He had the Catan, the Transcendent Catan, with the Weave, of course. He had a Hexmark Destroyer. Then he had 2 units of heavy destroyers, and then he had 2 units of 6 Tomb Blades for his objective taking sort of units. So he didn't really have anything too much with behind enemy lines. I mean, he could have used his Hexmark. His Hexmark was there just to, with the Sovereign Coronal, obviously, for the heavy destroyers. So he had turn 1 and moved his Transcendent Catan onto the centre objective. But then he needed to do an action, so he didn't do any damage or anything. He just basically sat in the middle objective, did the action, and that was that. And then I obviously opened up fire on the Catan. I think that's what's happened. Anyway, that might have been turn 2. Anyway, basically, yeah, I shot out the Catan just about. I think he said that he'd only lost him one other time since he's been playing him. But I did manage to shoot him out. Jack was doing quite well on secondaries with those Tomb Blades. But in the end I just won it on points. It was an interesting game with our 2 lists. You may remember that I did a Necron list video and played a battle report with a list called Jack of all Trades with the Silent King. Well, that was Jack. He came to the tournament. If you haven't put 2 to 2 together yet, and that was that, yes. He loves his Tomb Blades. I need to probably start playing Tomb Blades a bit more. I have played them once, but just haven't got around to it yet. There's so many things I want to play. I'm in US, however. I woke up at 4:30 AM, so I was able to jump on right when he started. Awesome, 4:30 AM. So I had snooker last night, just practice, team practice. I'm getting ready for the league to start. I had to put a new tip on a few weeks ago because it was quite worn down, so I've been wearing in the new tip. I would say that yesterday was like, after about 3 weeks of wearing it in, I would say that I feel like very comfortable with the new tip now, so I think it's embedded now. Yeah, looking forward to the season starting. And obviously it's back on the telly now as well, so first tournament was last week. So yeah, once I've painted these, I'm going to have a rest, see what Necron girl's up to. She probably, as I said, she's probably just in her room just chilling or doing whatever. And then we'll probably have some lunch, watch a bit of TV. We're watching Star Trek Voyager at the moment, so we'll probably watch an episode of that. Maybe go shopping, food shopping, and then get some more Tyranids painted later today. Let's crack on with them. I've got the Von Ryan Leapers next to do. It's taken me slightly longer with some of these, not so much the Gants because I've painted them before, but some of the models I haven't painted before, and also the design is quite different, especially like these Von Ryan Leapers. You know, their claws and sort of how some of the, I said they're spiky, how some of them are like totally different. I'm not quite sure how to paint them. A bit like the Screamer Killer, who's got like totally different head. And this thing here is like very different to Tyranids that I've painted before. So it's like I've got to work out exactly where I'm going to lay down the colours and the paint. That's taking slightly longer, but once that's done, then it should definitely speed up. Trying to remember all the new names. When you're playing the army all the time it's okay, but when you don't really play it much, it can be hard to remember the names. So I've got a few days off in September, the end of September. Booked a couple of days off, and also I've got 4 days off in October, which during the school holiday. So I think we're going to try and do something because we haven't actually been away this year. Last year we went to Portugal for a family wedding, which was really nice. But this year we've not really done anything. Also like money as well, isn't it? That was the new interest rates and mortgage all went up, and yeah, it'll be tough really to have surplus cash. And electric bill, my god. Food bill, there's like everything in, isn't it? Everything's gone up. It's like a little bag of shopping, so expensive now. Another one done. I'm not going to think about it, but bearing in mind that this is only the first layer of all of this that I've done today, just the first layer. I've got another layer to do with this particular colour before I even start the next layers. Looking forward to getting to my Leviathan box sometime in the near future. It is a fun set. Have you got both halves of you to do? Or did you split it? Tyranids got quite a few, right? Quite a few different new units. So presumably the Space Marines will get something too. I wonder if they'll just be mini Marine replacements, or will they be brand new different units? My hunger is passing now. My body has said, no food is coming. Okay, let's stop making the acid. Let's stop preparing for food. I'm going to feed you, stomach. You just have to wait until I've done these Tyranids. Error. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming as such. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you see me? According to this, I've got an error. Let's have a look at OBS. Oh, dropped frames, 0.2%. It's nothing. It's nothing. Not even a percent. Not even 0.5%. As you can tell, I've probably run out of things to say. So you have any questions? Yep, I can hear you. Good. Excellent. If you have any questions or a topic you'd like me to have a chat about, then yeah, let me know in the comments. Not comments, in the chat. I won't see it in the comments. Not until after the stream, which would be pointless. Another one down. Another one down. Error. I keep getting this error message. So when Richard gets back from holiday, he's moving house. I'm going to have like a new gaming area. It's going to be basically like the garage. Seems like there's quite a lot of room in there, so be interesting. See how that's going to affect the battle reports that we do. Hopefully it won't be too echoey like with the sound. And also the lighting's another big, like, important thing. Any advice for new Necron players? I think my main advice would be just to have fun. Don't get too disheartened if you're not winning at first, because it takes quite a few games to really get used to the army, you know, and just the general. Well, it depends if you're new to 40k or not. Well, maybe you've got other armies and now you are playing Necrons. biggest advice has got to be to list build and play for the mission. You do want a good mixture, so you want some big guns, some smaller guns, objective takers, you want some fast moving units, and you want a bit of redundancy as well, a bit of backup, you know, so that if a unit does go down, you've got another unit that can like step in. That's why sometimes, you know, smaller units, like say 3 Tomb Blades, you've got 3 Tomb Blades. You know, once one unit dies, you've got a step-in unit that can come back in, take that objective, or, you know, do the action that needs to be done. You need a bit of redundancy there. Obviously, RP is one of our big things, but don't necessarily rely on it, and also don't necessarily like build your list because of RP. Like, again, you know, yeah, okay, sometimes bigger units means you're going to survive for longer, you're going to get more RP. Sometimes, depending on the unit's role, that's not necessarily always the best thing. You know, sometimes it's just best to have a smaller unit. Especially with the way terrain is, you can sort of almost get away with having like the unit hidden, because generally things aren't quite as powerful. They can be. Certain units are devastating. And even choked talking about desolators there. Like orc flash kits, you know. And obviously use your stratagem points, stratagems and CP points wisely as well. Gameplay was definitely smoother without all the stratagems. Yeah, that's for sure. Just having a few select stratagems is it makes it a lot easier. If you could add a brand new unit to Necrons, what would it be? Indirect fire, flamer, some kind of sphinx vehicle monster. I think indirect obviously is all the flavour of the month, and we don't have any apart from the Silent King. So I suppose that's like your instant thoughts. But obviously we do have a lot of new units and a lot of new units. So it's hard to like try to imagine another unit for the army. So how many more units do we need, you know? But that is certainly one thing that we are lacking, is indirect fire. We were talking about changing the rules of certain units. It'd be pretty cool if the Dominion, the convergence of Dominion, maybe that had indirect fire. What sort of unit would Necrons have that would have indirect fire? This is the last one in this group of 5. Then I've only got 10 to do, for sure this time. What do you think about using the Sovereign Criminal on a Hexmark Destroyer with 2 units of 5 death marks? So are you talking about deep striking them all in, presumably? It's definitely an option. I wouldn't necessarily use it myself in terms of if you're talking about trying to keep coherency and use the sovereign coronal on the death marks. I don't know how useful that would be with what job role they've got. It might be slightly different if you were taking maybe a bigger unit of 10, having them more defensive, like deployed on the table. That could work quite well. With two bigger units maybe. I'm not so sure about the 5 unless you're just deep striking them, in which case you probably don't need to lead them. Of course, again, it depends on your points level as well. If you're playing 1,000 points, then 2 units of 5 death marks with the hex mark could work quite well. If you're paying 2,000, you're probably going to want units of 10. Right, come on. Get this one done, Nick. Right. Done. So, just 10 more to go. No problem, Adam, you're welcome. Sometimes it can be hard to think off the fly as well. I'm very used to pre-planning like my videos. Now I'm going to go against the grain here a little bit. Rather than doing the last 10 in 2 units of 5, I'm just going to get all 10 out and paint them. It's like the sprint, the final sprint. 5 and 5. And that's it. We're going to do these and then we'll finish the stream. Now, how's the paint doing? Tiny bit more paint, I think. Something going on outside. I don't know if you can hear that or not. Right, here we go. The final 10. Have any of you seen the new Barbie film? My fiance went to see it and she lasted half an hour and walked out. I didn't go. It's had some good reviews, hasn't it? Let's see if anybody owns up to seeing the new Barbie film or not. Oh, I got something on this one. They're in the way there, aren't they? Oh, this is one of those awkward ones. haven't seen the new Mission Impossible yet. I definitely want to watch that. So it looks really good. No, not yet. My daughters are all under 10, so it's just a matter of time before I do. Yeah. It's supposed to be quite adult orientated as well, though, isn't it? This one's taken forever. Everything's just like awkward. Still, it's done. That's one. Oh, oh, oh. 9 more to go, and then we are done. Come on then, let's do this. It's quite good that I'm doing this live, because maybe if I hadn't been, I would have had a break by now. Well, yeah, I think I would have done. I would have broken for lunch by now. So I definitely would have had less work done. Quarter to 2 already. So today has just flown past. Something dodgy going on outside, for sure. Somebody doing something to their boats. So we don't have a road outside. We have a marina outside with a load of boats. So someone's obviously doing something to their boat, some sort of work to it. Okay. No, I need to do the towel, because I noticed the towel wasn't painted that well. Still got to do the second coat anyway, but the first coat just, I think I must have like howled it or something when it was wet. Okay, 2 done. Only 8 to go, how about that? Another awkward one, it's just difficult to get to. So many miniatures though to try and paint sub-assembly would be so difficult. I figured that just not having them glued to the base would be enough to get into pretty much most of the stuff. And also where it's quite a simple paint scheme, I didn't think it'd be too much of a problem. And it's not, it's just some are just a bit more awkward than others. So, I'm live, nothing to say, but I just want to get these done before I finish, so let's think of something to say. Let's think of something. Oh, I did see the new Flash movie, which I think I liked it. It was very CGI, and some of it wasn't amazing CGI. I mean, you could clearly see it was CGI. I don't know. After watching the TV series, it's hard to watch a different person playing the Flash. You know. Yeah. Now, apparently, that guy is it Adam West, I think, isn't it? Adam West. No, Adam. Well, I know his name's Adam anyway. But apparently he is going to play the Flash in the new Batman film. So I've been told. I read it somewhere. Gonna need some new paint on the palette. Yeah, so I saw that, and then I saw the new Dungeons and Dragons movie, Honor Amongst Thieves, and yeah, I enjoyed that. It wasn't amazing, but yeah, it was good. Right, more paint. Just 7 to go. You do get a lot of miniatures, don't you, in these box sets? It's really nice. Obviously when we had the Necron Indomitus, we had all the warriors in there, didn't we? So similar scenario, 40 warriors to paint. Not quite as many other miniatures, but can't stop thinking about food and what I want to eat. I've got a funny feeling we'll end up having pizzas tonight. We'll probably just buy them, frozen ones. I like those tiger bread ones. They do tiger bread pizzas. Pretty tasty. The only thing is they don't do them with like stuffed crusts. You can tell the easy ones to paint because they just get them done quicker. The ones are basically without any terrain on the feet because the terrain just gets in the way. Another one, 6 left. I should have probably done these in blocks of 5 anyway, but there you go. That's the way to batch paint though. So even though I've got like an absolutely mammoth task ahead of me, it still feels like I'm finishing, feels like I'm achieving something for this particular section that I'm doing. When it's done, celebrate as if I'd finished painting actual units. And then set the next goal. Right, the next goal is I'm going to paint all of these pieces on all of those miniatures, and then just do that, make that your task. Otherwise it's just so daunting when you've got so much to paint. I can hear the ducks outside now, so we've gone from somebody fixing their boat to ducks. Hi. Alright, here we go. A stuffed crust white sauce Hawaiian pizza is the way to go, or a barbecue chicken pizza. I love barbecue on my pizzas, mainly because when I was with my ex, she didn't like barbecue sauce. So now I always have barbecue. Like, what sauce do you want? Barbecue. Barbecue. And I'll have some more barbecue on the top as well, please. So, so yeah, I do love barbecue. Hawaiian, yeah, pineapple on. I do like pepperoni though, quite a lot, but not necessarily just pepperoni. I love jalapenos on mine as well, because I like I like spicy food. Hi, trying to figure out if I should put the mini on the base and then add basing material, or do the base first and then add the mini. I think it depends on the basing material. A lot of people put it on afterwards because then it doesn't look like the material is like over the foot. It looks like they're actually standing on the terrain a bit more. But there is a way to get over that if you want to glue it on, but not have it looking like it's standing inside the material. If you put a very small piece of plastic card on the bottom of the foot, it will just raise them off the ground slightly. It gives you that little gap to put the sand and stuff underneath the feet. Personally, unless it's like a showcase piece that I'm doing, I would normally have them. I'd normally do the base first. Sorry, after. So just like glue them on and then just base around it. But I think it does, yeah, it depends on the actual miniature. I'm going to get these out of the way. Off of the desk, make room for the next ones. Now I've done these feet, this unit is really looking a lot more painted than it was before, obviously, because it is. But do you know what I mean? It just feels like I've done so much more now. Just these 5 to go. Depends on the model and how it rests on the base. If you're adding debris and rocks to the base, do the base first. Yeah, assuming, and also depends on the material. Like if you're using like proper rocks from the garden, it can be hard to like glue the models on or pin the models. Sometimes it's a good idea to pin the models onto a base as well. So I think there's no fixed rule. Nice collection, thank you Maximus. Yeah, 98 Tyranids. That's my current task, to paint them all. Not in this live stream, I'm just doing a little section. But we're getting there, we've got 5 more feet and claws to go on these Gants. And we are going, I am going to break for lunch. Because it's way past lunchtime and I'm starving. It's now 2 o'clock. Which, to be fair, I normally eat at about 2 o'clock at work. Like 1:30, 2. I usually go last for lunch. That's the sort of manager I am. Now, late lunch is good because it makes the afternoon go quicker. When you're at work. When you're at home painting miniatures, that's not necessarily what you want. You don't necessarily want it to go quick. Now, one thing to try not to do when you're close to finishing something like this here, we've got these last 5, is to like rush them and then get messy, because then you'll just have more cleanup work to do afterwards. So still try to maintain the same concentration, let's say. live stream now for 3.5 hours. It's coming up to probably one of my longest live streams, if not the longest one. I know I've done a 3-hour one before. Doesn't feel like I've been doing this for nearly 4 hours, but clearly I have. If you have been in the stream since the beginning, I hope you've enjoyed it. Four to go. Obviously there's an opportunity to do maybe a magnetising tutorial if I do get this new Norn Queen Mini, because you can make it into both models, can't you? The one kit. I'm assuming it's going to be a dual kit. Is that the case? Is that an assumption? Or is that the real thing? Surely that's a dual kit, yeah? I have got my coffee and some basing done whilst listening. Excellent, that's good to hear. Yeah, I like putting live streams on, you know, when I'm doing hobby, because it just feels like you're doing hobby with a friend, doesn't it, sometimes? Just makes it a little bit more entertaining, let's say. Especially when you're in the house by yourself. Well, I'm not, because Necron girl, like I said, is in her bedroom at the moment, but my fiance's gone away to London for a week. She's got appointments there she needs to go to. I thought I put way too much paint on my palette, but that is not the case. I might actually need some more. Two. Three left. little bit more paint, not too much. Paint, forest, paint. This one's on terrain. So I haven't played for quite some time, since the tournaments actually. Like I said, Richard's gone on holiday. So I haven't really played for and I've been ill. But even so I wouldn't have played anyway, because like I said, Richard's not here. But I do have the game with 6+ Devo coming up. 2 games, which I cannot wait for. I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be an awesome day. I know Steve-O's been really enjoying 10th edition. For now, until it starts to get bloated again, which it will. Almost guaranteed. Just 2 left. Just take them both off of their base. Hey, my parcel has arrived, apparently. That's good. I still haven't got enough paints. I've got to get some more. Tiny bit. I hate these pots when you've got like a clog at the front and you squeeze it and it just goes, it just comes out everywhere. Generally easier to get the paint out those dropper bottles, I'd admit. I'll admit. Right, I've got no comments. I don't think we've got many people watching. How many we got watching at the moment? Just a few of you guys. Thank you very much for sticking with me whilst I finish up these last couple of guys. So I am really looking forward to finishing these and having a little break, something to eat, chill out for a bit before I go shopping. Come back, and then probably do some more painting. Next, I've got to put some paint on those Von Ryan Leapers. Got to work out exactly where I'm going to put the colours, because I'm not 100% sure with them things. I've done the bits I am 100% sure with, but they definitely need some more work. I think where there's more detail on stuff, that's why it's harder, because like the scything talons are just, there's so much detail there. It's like, where do I actually put this paint, you know, to like keep it in line with my paint scheme, you know, which is using the old models that don't have so much detail. I'm trying to keep it all looking consistent, you know. Right, last one. Just about got enough paint left, I think, on that palette. So if you hadn't been watching from the beginning, I'm only going to have short videos up next week because I've been ill and I've been painting these Tyranids, blah 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 blah. So yeah, short videos next week only, and that's okay. It's just the way it is. Come on then. Nearly done. Nearly done. Got a really awkward one at the end. And believe it or not enough paint. Tiny bit of paint needed. And we're done. Whee! Celebrate good time. Hello, Ewan. Necrons. How's it going? It's going very well, thank you. I've just finished doing that particular layer that I was trying to do on my Termagants, all 40 of them. So yeah, we're going to break now for some lunch, and we'll continue to paint later today. So thank you everyone who has joined in, whether you've been the whole stream or just popped in. I really appreciate it, appreciate your support, and yeah, hope everyone has a fantastic rest of the day or evening or whatever it is in your country, because I am going to have some lunch. Yeah, thank you everyone, and I will see you in the next video.